Hi remotes, welcome to this beautiful session. We are the remote, episode 17, already friendly faces. Hi Christopher, and already people knowing how to react on butter. So, welcome to this exclusive session. This is a product track. We have good music, good speakers, and good members. If you feel a bit bored about the music, of course, you have on the below of your screen a control. You can turn the music down, you can turn it off, or I guess you can even switch to the song you prefer. Without any transition, we're gonna drill down this session and we'll unveil you guys where are you connecting from. And for this session, it's the first time I'm in a digital nomad situation. Fabrice, you can pin the city where you are right now. You can put the name because the map is big. And you can, even if you're courageous, select and search for a picture. I want to see many pin on the map. Loading, yes, Fabrice. Wow, Saint-Cloud, very romantic. This is the castle where you are? Okay, I'm especially for this session in Tavira, south of Portugal, close to Spain, Andalusia. It's already summer and warm, you can see my face. And oh, Deb from Minneapolis. I guess I know the picture you will choose. So, yes, I'm starting also Isadora. I'm very excited to have, South America participants. Amazon, yeah, amazing. And of course, Chris, United States, Richmond, very green place. Nice to have you here. Elena, long time to see. So most of you are on board. So we're gonna move on the webinar, and I guess everybody is curious about your Fabrice. But before we go into the question, let me just present you for the Mironers and the people coming from the Miro community. What's happening here? We're a sub-community of Miro. Air Generation stands, of course, for remote, and we dedicate this place and this community to inspire, connect, and learn new things on, yes, future of work, remote collaboration. We are both part of, product design facilitation consultancy. So every month we have a new guest, and of course, in this great community, we have great partners. Of course, those we know already Butter. Butter is a complete environment to have a facilitation workshop remotely. If you're bored about Zoom, you have found the right place to make your new workshop. Butter is a video platform, but it's also a video entertainment content. And you'll see in this webinar, we're using both Butter Video to have this connection and Butter Scene to have all the entertainment you love. Miro community, most of you already are participants of this community. They're great support. They're leading you guys to us. And of course, we're connected on remote facilitation, tools, techniques, and whatever. And Discovered is our last but not least partner. It's one of the most trendy recruiter in product design and technology. Based in Berlin, they're offering to our member special position, open position on hybrid or remote, full remote in Europe, but also in the US, in California, San Francisco. So if you think it's the good time for you to move to the next episode of your career, join us in the community. Finally, we're a community. We love to have fun. We love to laugh, and we love to share. And for the most engaged members today, we have special things for you. We're gonna share, free tickets to get special framework on our template gallery and template shop. How you can do that? Just, of course, some of you already know the rules, but share your engagement using any way you can. In Butter, you have the React menu where you can, of course, like or not like what's happening, but also you can share love and fire. You have a chat where you can share many stuff, including great gift. So everything in Butter is tracked, and at the end of the show, we will know who are the top 3 winners for this event. So I guess if everything is clear and the rules are good, just send me a thumbs up with the emoji, and like this, I know everybody is ready to start. Okay, I think Fabrice, we're good. We are good to go.
Wonderful.
So let's close this introduction, and maybe let's follow up with the music later. Right now, it's time for my introduction, and our guest today isn't just a product leader. He's someone who helped shape how I think about a product and I build strategy, and I hope also leadership, making this community life. I met Fabrice de Mazery years ago in a cab somewhere between a THIGA Academy in the heart of Paris and Orly Airport. He was the one who certified me in product leadership, and honestly, we've been bouncing idea ever since. More recently, this very webinar ID just was born in another car, not in a cab, but in another car. Me picking him at Lisbon Airport before the Productize conference last year. And a good thing do happen between terminal and dashboards. Fabrice, you're more than my friend. You lead product at IBM, TripAdvisor, Deezer, and more recently, of course, the Fork, part of the TripAdvisory group. But more than logos that sound great and outstanding. You have shared with the product scene a lot of clarity. Of course, you have your specific sense of humor, and of course, your unapologetic obsession with making organization that works. That's exactly what we're gonna do today. And now you're building B2C startup for parents, something meaningful, messy, but always very human. So you ever feel stuck in landing stupid OKR in every of your companies or journey? So I was wondering today how to build an org that really move the needles buckle ups. Fabrice is right here to entertain you about your next product organization. So, Fabrice, now we can start and let's break the ice. You have worked with giant like IBM, TripAdvisor, or Deezer, and yet you call yourself a product entrepreneur at heart. The turning point in your journey that shape how you strategize today. Maybe can you just introduce a bit yourself more personally, and let's tell me, how you move to, be so fanatic about product organizations.
Well, thank you for the intro. Yeah, I think we're more than friends, and for people to understand, we really share a gap between it was my the last training that I did as a CPO of a company. And we were so passionate about the debate that we had that we actually shared a cab until Orly. That was a wonderful experience. And we've been more than friends since. So things happen, and that's why we get to love life, right? I started as an entrepreneur. I'm not a techie at all. Initially, I studied law. So I ended up creating startups. I say out of chance or out of opportunities. And I became an exec for the same thing, just meeting these people at the right moment in my life. And one of the biggest frustration that I've had in by being exec was the bad quality of investment decisions that people were making. And I think that when you're an entrepreneur and that's your own money that you're investing, right? Either you invest money in that tool or you don't have anything else to eat, right? Then the choice is of saying, I want to put money here instead of there. And it changes completely the way that you see things. But I've seen so many companies where people were not even building strategy. They thought it was a strategy. They thought it was a clear strategy, but it was not. And they were using OKR as a kind of a, let's do a kind of a theater around putting things in priority, even if we will not follow up, even if we will not stop them, even if we will build our own little OKRs. Before it was called objectives, now it's called OKRs. That's fancy, but are the same. It's the same result of people working in silos and doing this strategy OKR theater that becomes a pain in the backside for everyone and that nobody uses. So I guess the turning point was when I joined Deezer, which is a music streaming company. Um, I was there to, I'd say, generate money. It was a moment when nobody cared about generating money, and I arrived in 2016 in a company that was initially a tech company, really, really tech, I'd say back-end company. And my goal was to make the brides sexier so that we would be able to raise money and become unicorn in 2018, because that was my clear roadmap. And actually, with the teams, we did it. We had 100 million of ARR on top of what was existing, and we did that in 18 months. So that was quite amazing, comparing that we had Apple Music and Spotify in front of us. And so we raised money. And I'd ask, okay, now that we are raising money, we have this 160 million, what is the next step to actually build something different from Spotify? And the board look at me and say, there's no next step. Now we raise money. We don't need to raise more money. So let's do what we've always done, Don't have to build something new, Fabrice. But I why am I here if I'm not building something new at all? I don't see the point of having me. And I say, no problem. The shareholders are happy, so we're happy, and you should be happy. And that's it. So I quit the company 1 week after that. So I guess that was my turning point. How can people think in the short term, even if we're talking about hundreds of millions of euros of dollars? And then if that people that had experience in very big companies, I just couldn't understand that. So I had to do something. I left the company, joined THIGA, and started teaching about what is a good strategy and what is a good org.
And then meet me in a cab.
Exactly.
Amazing. Straight to it for you. Of course, there's mostly strategy, vision, perspective, but still OKRs. What's going wrong with those OKR today? And mostly, why are we repeating the same mistake more and more all the time?
But firstly, because a lot of people don't even read the books. They don't go there, right? They look at summary. And I guess that sadly, with the LLMs, that's going to be even worse. And I use LLMs every day, right? So I'm not criticizing Gen AI. I'm using that every fucking day. Um, but people just doing the same theater again and again, deciding that OKR should be on a 3 month long period because someone decided that it was good to be based in quarters, even if what you have to put in that would not make any sense. And when it comes to product, for example, a 3 month period, well, you might not see results in a 3 month period if you're investing in Delight. If you're in B2B and you have sales cycles that are 9 months old, it makes absolutely no sense to have OKR that are 3 months long, but everybody's doing that. So let's do exactly the same thing. Then problem with OKRs is that really at the basics, it was to find things we're going to work on together. It was focus. But everybody wants an OKR. Everyone wants their little OKR. Plenty of things are not strategic. They should not be OKRs. That good objectives then might be what I call supporting streams. And sorry about HR people and finance people, but usually they are not strategic in the company, meaning that we need them because if they're not there, everything would collapse. But sadly, in a lot of times, you don't have one big thing that's going to be strategic and change when the strategy changes when it comes to HR and finance. So everybody wants a little OKRs. And then what people do is that they focus on marketing OKRs, sales OKRs, product OKRs, engineering OKRs, because they want to feel recognized. They want to feel that they are important. They want to have a slide to present, etc., etc. And so people end up looking at their little words, just like when you're building frontiers between countries. People who focus only on their small country, engineering country, marketing country, product country. And we don't build a story together at all. So going on and on, people just repeat that mistake, 3 months long things, not connected to the strategy, putting metrics here, even if people don't follow up, and then having your own small little things just out of ego, not because it's more efficient, it's just a problem of ego.
Yeah. So the ego basically is also something very, I think, any organization is built with people, and male or female. I guess we all have to deal with it. What's usually save us is sharing the same, maybe the same idea, the same vision, the same end goal, until the strategy on one hand. Most recently, before I get to your I get to you, I get in touch with you. Basically, I didn't read your books. I'm the one that mostly not read books, but I like connection, and I like practice and experiment. And when I experience working on organization, I never have that kind of thoughts. And something that really fascinated me, it was like, unlocking the next level was like, hey, think like an organization is a product like another. And it was just fascinating. But today we often say if org should serve the strategy, we are just having this the other way around. The organization mostly is like an HR stuff, while the product are making products and the human resource are making the organization. So can you walk us through what that actually look like in practice to design a product strategy on one hand versus building the right structure for to serve this strategy?
No. So the first thing to consider is to forget a little bit the organization structure. One thing that I was really surprised with when I joined the Fork, for example. So when I joined the Fork, the organization was completely disconnected with what we needed to do. Right? People had their own little features, their own little things here and there, and they were even talking about this is my page when it came to NAP. So we changed the organization. It took us 3 months to change a 300 people organization of product engineering and design. And we had a new HR director, not coming from software companies that joined, and she wanted to be part of the debate. And that was quite amazing because when we presented how we were going to do things, she said, You cannot do that." What, do you think we cannot do that? Well, we can't do that. You're changing people, changing teams. People will not be happy with that. They will be reactive to change. We need to do a plan and need to do some training. What are you talking about? We do that every day in product engineering. We change based on what we need to build. It's not about retraining people. And for her, she hadn't known at all this way of organizing teams. By definition, we are multidisciplinary. Now, when it comes to marketing, for example, people that are specialists in acquisition marketing are not the same one. We're going to work on loyalty or branding. And this extra specialization creates silos by themselves. So one of the biggest problematic that you need to actually handle when it comes to building a strategy and building an organization that will enable it is to say, okay, how do I stop having people assuming their roles is tied to a job description and thinking about, okay, how can I leverage my power on the good focus points? and
Okay, so
helping maybe people from products or engineering do their job better. So, for I'll give you an example. When it comes to sales, we need salespeople in B2B to help us pitch features or pitch jobs to be done, whatever you call them, to potential customers. They are better than us at doing so. This is their job. But they have incentives just to sell more, not to help us build something that we can sell at scale in 3 or 4 months. So as long as you don't change that, don't change the incentives, don't change the job description, you will end up having people stuck in their own organization without being really touched by the strategy. So it's going to be blocking the evolution of the org and thus the enablement of the strategy. So that all starts with that, thinking of an org as an enabler of a strat and not as a structure for people to be comfortable in. And that's a really difficult mindset.
yeah, but I think that also one of the unveiled cap from a good CPO is also being a good recruiter. And we have a lot of questions already. And yeah, Frederick, keep your question. We have a very nice fire chat session question with Fabrice on Miro that's up to come. So if you have any question in mind, yeah, put it together and we'll have the time for that, of course. I'm very curious about our member and our participant right now, about how they engage organization, or how they are living what they are enforced by the organization in their product team. So guys, I have something special for you. It's a very fast and quick short poll that has been generated on Butterscene. So you'll see Butterscene is also a very integrated place into Butter videos, and you can generate those very nice forms. So I'll give you a minute to feed this situation, and let's foster the people in an acoustic version. The time we have the form feed, guys. So, have you ever worked on aligning your product organization with your company strategy? Personally, it's part of my life today, thanks to Fabrice. Okay. Yeah, you have to select an option and then you have to submit. 6 more answers to go. Fabrice, if you want, you can participate. I really enjoy, in this environment, sharing, good experience, good music, good people, and good participants. And using Butter, all of this can be yours, excepting having Fabrice when you want. Okay, guys, the poll have to. No problem, Sarah. See you around. So, as you see, and Fabrice, you can be proud of our attendees. A lot of people already are integrating the product organization with the company strategy. That's very interesting. And I guess this session, because of your name, mostly bring a lot of product guys here, because there's no non-product participant today. So, Fabrice, we'll follow up this poll, of course, with just a couple of more questions before we are moving to the Miro. I think it's the time everybody is waiting for. But I have few one for you interesting. Also, we are speaking a lot about remote in air generation, and so my two next question will be, on one side, you know, have you ever been working remotely, or I know you are very in-person people, but how you're facing the remote as a CPA X yesterday in a worldwide company versus today as more a coach or a mentor. That's my first question.
Okay. Well, I like meeting with people, definitely. But as a CPO, I used to have teams not all over the world, but minimum all over Europe. So I spent a lot of time communicating. My boss was in Italy, for example. CMO was in Barcelona and before, so we had to work together. One of the things I see people are very good at when it comes to remote is the ability to do async job, and that's actually quite amazing. You don't really have a choice, as you cannot just have this small talk conversation easily. People that are good in remote have this ability to have the discipline to work in async mode, and that's quite good when it comes to workshops, for example. People just add things. While people that don't work in remote, sometimes you do workshop, you put post-its everywhere, and then people just forget about it. So I think that's a good thing when it comes to that. It's this ability to have this discipline of making sure that the information is there and updated. That's really quite right. Now, one of the things that is hard, and we know that when it comes to building a story together, and that's one of the classical problems that you have, not only in remote teams, when people don't see each other. I've seen exactly the same thing. I'm giving the example of the fork, but could be the same thing at Deezer. When people are even in the same building, but they just don't talk to each other. And that's a classical thing. And when it comes to sharing a story, it means that you need to share successes and failures. It means that you need to, I'd say, share more than words, but share moments. And this is where people lack this connection. And the story just connecting people together. So a strategy might end up being just slides, just like values are just stickers around the elevator shaft. That's classic. We have the four wonderful values that we built in a workshop. Nobody believes in that. And that is the same thing in the strategy. Yes, we have a kind of a strategy, we have a kind of a vision. It was great for recruiting people, it's good for the investors, but nobody lives by that. So that would be my take. I may be wrong, right?
But believe me or not, and especially the community, I think we're going to break a myth right now. I have started one day per week in office for a company as a head of Gen AI. So yeah, even digital nomad and full remote guys sometimes have to face it. And if I'm very stunned about how unproductive is the work at the office. So, the people, they just, laughing, chatting all the time. Oh, let's go for a cigarette. Oh, let's have the coffee. Oh, do you know what I saw on the Netflix yesterday? Or there's a new restaurant opening here and there. And it's loud, it's noisy, and but at the end of the day, when you're out from the office, you're full of this beautiful storytelling and this cultural dimension that makes the organization. So I think I'm also changing from being full remote all the time at any cost to having this opportunity to meet the people in real life. Of course, that really makes sense. And the other question, because also the AI generation community is an AI friendly community. Most of us are entrepreneur, and they are all sided by, you know, virtual partners in any way as possible. That, but what's your point about when AI meets products, when AI meets org? Uh, is is it already becoming a part of your everyday product conversation, AI, or are you already starting to generate, statements, strategic insights, or organization charts using AI? What's any secrets?
No, I don't have any secrets. I'm using more and more, I'd say, agents and MCP to make sure that when I build with the humans, I can get information from internal conversations and external sources. And this is where when you start to do kind of strategic things, when it comes to making sure that you are connected with what the competitors are doing. That's the best thing that I've ever seen. When you have now things like amplitude building agents so that you can actually receive information about things that are changing, placebo hypothesis, etc. We are living in a world when not doing strategic analysis is going to be problematic because it's so easy to do. Now, analysis doesn't mean that you're confronting yourself with the real problems that you have. It doesn't mean that you're going to take the right decisions. And this is what organization and strategy is about, right? Making sure that whenever you build a strategy, it's something that is desirable and reachable, and not only something that you've built in a workshop because you have to do something. So for me, AI is an accelerator, but definitely is going to accelerate the bullshit creation and decisions the same way that anything will do just because garbage in, garbage out, right?
Yeah, of
Um,
course, that makes
Now
sense.
when it comes definitely comes to the org, what is starting to be great is the ability to analyze, for example, retrospectives, trying to have information of the real temperature based on sentiment analysis around what people are talking about in retrospective, so that you can have something live saying what things are working, not working, trying to build experiments when it comes to an organization, largely in a quicker way that we did before. Now it's still human people that you playing with when you're doing an org. So you cannot just do things twice or 10 times faster because, well, still people are people. They need time. They need to accept change, and well, they need to live the story. So this is, I say,
Okay.
we are at the limit of that, but that's great to have this kind of limit.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're speeding up the chaos, but there's also amazing story we're starting to share in the hub in the community with some AI generative AI addict, and sometimes I feel like I was ready for this time of AI and robots to come all my life. So yeah, I think that's something to unveil. I think in a creative mode, not just in a productive mode. And it's the time to move on the mirror board, but to wrap up this talk together. Yeah, if someone in the community want to start today building an org that's really accelerate the strategy, what's the first step to start?
The first step is to think about the story that you want to tell, and then you need to shape the characters, the teams that goes with it. Just like, well, if you're building a book like The Lord of the Rings, and you know that at the end you want that ring into Mount Doom, well, it's a vision, right? Now, if you want to go for a first step, a first chapter, that would be getting people to breathe, for example. Then you need to think about different characters and who they are, what they're going to do. Do they have to work together? Are they autonomous, etc.? That would be the community, right? The 9 people, maybe the 9 teams that you need. You start to really think, build things that way. What do we need to actually go from where we are to the end of the first chapter? And then maybe you will have to change at the first chapter. Maybe you lose Gandalf, and that's okay for a period of time. So in a way, start thinking about what you want to build, what you want to tell. Thinking about the characters that you need, and accept that not everything is strategic. And that's, I guess, that's a good start.
So I think that's a good start. Also to introduce our playground. I guess some participants thought we were learning how to write a better OKR. I think we are mostly here to learn how we can create better organization and not just OKR driven. So I'm sorry, I'm very sorry, May, if sometime our announcement I be confused. If you want me to excuse, I think everything will go smoothly with a nice mirror board from the air generation community. So you might all have this board opening into your butter. If not, I'll put the board link in the chat if you want to open in a new tab. There's no problem. It will be the same board. And so, yeah. as most of you already know those nice exercise, I'll bring everybody to me in 3, 2, 1 right now. We'll have a first time to heard your voice about stupid OKR. You might all experience in your life a situation where your boss or your organization claim for a stupid OKR, stupid KPI to follow, or a stupid experience to fit the dashboard. I can share mine to assume the last time I bring to an executive committee, a kind of conception of OKRs. They get back to me with a must-win battle framework with 72 goals to follow. And at the end, it was just a mess. So you might all have those kind of story. If you're okay, I'll put, let's put 5 minutes on the clock, and you can start to write and share your worst OKR experience. And of course, you will have some music to entertain this particular session. Let's go. And know that in Miro, you also have reactions. It's fully anonymous, so if you have personal experience to share here and we can laugh a bit about it, it will be nice. Number of calls per day for sales. What do you think about it, Fabrice?
Sorry, I was on mute. I don't see the board actually. I don't have the.
Okay, if you don't see the board, you can go in the chat.
Yeah.
And I have pinned on the board the board link. You can open it in a new tab.
Yeah, but I don't have the authorization.
Oh, I'm gonna check this out.
Now I have it. Okay.
Yeah,
Working.
you should.
Perfect. So definitely number of calls. It really depends on what you're looking for. But I guess that the problem here is that we're not talking about a strategic OKR. We're talking about personal objective. Personal objectives in management is not strategy, and if it's not strategy, it's not the OKR. Basically, same thing. Even contracts and things like this. Maybe the number of contracts should not be an OKR because it's not doesn't tell you how it's going to connect with the strategy. So of course you need to call and you need to have productivity. Now, if it's just something that would be the same, whatever is the strategy that you're choosing, it's not an OKR. It's just an objective for people with an incentive beyond that. So for me, even number of contracts is not a good OKR at all.
So
No,
you
if I,
see,
yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was just looking on the.
I get this interesting graveyard, OKR graveyard scenario here, where they often get lost in the PPT slide. No one knows, so that's also sometimes those OKR are just something to feed what I call the beast, but to feed dashboard and justify management position.
Yeah. But the thing is that OKRs are just a representation of focus points, and you cannot have 10 focus points. So you need to define limited number of focus points. That is the beginning of the OKRs. And then doing the escalation for everyone in the company will end up in silos. So usually the things that I'm trying to build is to have what we call campaigns, which is a small group of people focused on one of those points, and that have the authority to actually get resources from the company to make sure that these campaigns are run. So you wouldn't have a debate of people saying that, yes, I understand you need me for that strategy campaign, but I have a personal objective, or I don't know, this number of new reaches on LinkedIn, just because my manager decided that it was a good objective for me or maybe for him. Um, so that changes the way that OKRs are based on the things that are the most important things in the company, and they're just not just a justification of the time of people. But yeah, I guess that goes with a lot of things that I see on the board.
Yeah, we have a lot of yeah content here, and it's not generated by robots. That's very interesting.
Oh,
Yeah, you can pick one and comment. And Fabrice,
yeah.
that's the game.
Oh, definitely. I think things in measurements, so many OKRs when we are actually building either trying to follow stupid things like NPS, which is completely biased, or having people having 10 different measures, and nobody would actually build something linked to that. And or people just looking at some kind of measurement every week, while the most important things, if, especially when you have a team working on an OKR, is a confidence level. So it's not about adding 10 or 60 or 80% of the objective. It's about what is your level of confidence considering what you have today that you're going to reach that objective. So maybe we would have to reframe it. Maybe we'd have to cancel it. Maybe we will have to, I don't know, use your resources a different way because it was not challenging enough. Or maybe it's just too challenging and someone wrote in the book that you need to be challenged because that's how things are done. And you don't take at all into consideration the fact that not everybody is American and not everybody likes to be challenged with having something 150% more than what they are able to do. And which is one of the problematic of the OKRs based on the US way of looking at things.
Think
Um,
about like most of our community here are in the US, so that could be very interesting for them to hear about this cultural difference between what's happening here and there.
no,
Anyway, I think we are running out of time in this sticky chat room, and I have something for Christopher. I know like Christopher know to read inside me, so let's ring this workshop out, and let's yeah me drive you to what the Miro AI is made for. Definitely, it's not the most intelligent model, but it's a very smart way when you are making, ideation, sharing stickies or whatever, to open create with AI and ask to make a document, a synthesis or whatever. And something new just appeared a couple of weeks ago. It's the action button. So the action button, I'm sorry, the title have a very strange, have a strange look. But when I'm clicking on this button, I have behind this button an action that I have programmed where I ask to take all the notes in the board where you have been working for and to make a synthesis called the OKR drama, where you should have a very funny way to resume all the content you have produced. So you see in a more serious way during a product review or yeah, a retrospective or even a product brief session, all the contribution in the notes can be put together and you can start to generate. And of course, using the action, you're not making the prompt while people are working. You can just prepare all the prompts, having the button, and so it's really streamlining everything in your session. So that was the Miro moment. I hope you have enjoyed it. And if you want to explore it, we have a cool workshop on Miro AI every month in the community. It's free. You can just join. We'll move to the quick fire question, and the quick fire question I think was the most interesting way for me to offer you a speaker attention for a while, including a board. So here it's super easy. You have stickies, you can put your name, and after you can have the question you want to Fabrice. And basically, May, if you want to know how to write better OKR, you can ask this question. But because I think we're having 15 minutes left, we won't go into every question. So you're gonna vote, you all folks, on the question you prefer. So I'll put 3 minutes on the clock for you to write down your question. And when it's done, we're gonna vote for the most promoted question, and Fabrice will have those 10 more minutes to enlighten you from his experience. Let's go, let's go. What do we have here? So May, I'm sorry, Karin already have this question for you. 2 minutes left. Hey, Karin, I was joking. You can keep up with your question. I mean, I don't even see this question from May. So, okay. So you see, we don't have 1,000 of question. We might have the chance to have positive thoughts on all of those. One minute to go. I have a very interesting question here. Don't forget to put your name on this question. Like this, we know who is asking. Best alternative to OKRs. This one is very interesting. Wow. Amazing testimonial, Karen. Okay, friends. I'm gonna set in a couple of seconds a vote session like this. You also see how you can experiment a vote session in Miro. It's a very, very practical when you have a large group. And basically, voting can be made with stickers. That's the most easy way when you don't have a large number of votes. Voting component where you can decide whatever the people are voting on, sticky, on the shape, on the picture. I can give you 3 votes, so each and 2 minutes. So let's start the vote now. You can read the question and you can vote on the question you prefer if you have. And we also have a more personal question, Fabrice. You can prepare yourself.
I see that.
So 2 people left on the voting funnel. Yeah. If anybody need help, Deb is here. Okay, Stefan, almost done. Okay, everybody have made it, so I will end and close the vote. And of course, let's have this drum roll. So, of course, the first question, I knew it was the one. What are the best alternative to OKR? Fabrice, it's up to you.
I think the OKR itself is not a problem, really. Defining focus points and trying to say how are you going to know that you reach a destination is in itself quite a good idea. So I wouldn't say there's a best alternative to OKRs or not. Just like writing good OKRs or writing bad OKRs, definitely you can write very, very, very bad OKRs when it's really output, when it's not connecting what's really important. But the real way of building good OKRs or building good strategy, building good organization is making sure that whatever you build is desirable and reachable at the same time. So, for example, let's imagine that the problem with OKRs is that people spend too much time every 3 months trying to build them. This is not a problem of framework. This is a problem of how you use it. So maybe it's not 3 months, or maybe it's not yearly OKRs. Maybe it should be based on the time that you want to invest on that part. So that could be 4 months, 6 months, 7 months if you want. Same thing. You could decide that you're not going to just have 3 OKRs, but you're going to prioritize based on the budget that you want to invest on everyone. And I've seen too many OKRs trying to you need to have between 3 and 5. Okay, that's great. But does it mean that if you have 5, we need to put 20% of our efforts on every one of these OKRs? And that's right to be problematic. And that's really what is lacking with the OKR framework, is that there's no good way of using it, because in the books that just said, well, you need to define an objective, basta. Do you need to cascade them? You don't know. Do you need to do that top down? You don't know. Do you need to trust the teams with that? You don't know. So that's the biggest problem with OKRs. It's really not the framework itself. So I wouldn't say it's a problem of alternative or not.
Okay, but I think we have the second question that is somehow the answer of the first question. So, yeah, the solution not to write stupid OKR is just to have purpose behind those OKR, and to have something that also is realistic. Facing your organization, I have so many time experiment like the people have to found things to fit OKR without getting the analytics, without getting the data, and they just have at the end to invent them. So I think that's something. It's very content based, and Karin, I really appreciate, by the way, your comment. Feeling like you're happy to be in your job, and also the way things are going. And now we have the not the second, but the third more plebiscite question is from Frederick. I saw this question in the chat, and I assume it was a very interesting one. You're assuming that everyone is aligned and willing to go forward. How do you manage to align them?
By threatening them, and that's the best way. The management by fear is really completely underrated. Just kidding, of course. The first problem that I see is that people are not aligned because their incentives are not aligned, because their bosses are not aligned, and don't have a silver bullet to align them. I'll give you an example with the fork. The biggest thing that I had to do when I joined the fork was to find 2 focus points. The first one was for B2B, the other one for B2C. And all these two words had always been completely disconnected. They just decided objectives on their own. And you're building a marketplace, so you cannot do that. So we try to find things that everybody would agree on. And one of the things was that we're going to sacrifice a lot of things to focus on the most big thing. That was trying to find a way for people, new users in the Fork. So the Fork is a restaurant booking platform, just like you Open Table, for example, for people that are in the US, for example. The idea was to say we see that people that have been there at least twice, so they booked at least in two restaurants and left a review, understand what is the purpose, the core value of the fork compared to going on Google Maps or compared with calling restaurants or not booking at all. So we decided to say 100% of what we're going to do, we're going to invest, and not only in product, but product and marketing, etc., are going to be focused on the B2C part, on having a better percentage of first and second users or people that are going to be using at least twice and leaving at least one rating or one review. Anything that is not connected to that, we're not going to do. So I guess that aligns everyone if you decide that on the XCOM level. And then when you take a look on the investment that are needed and saying that, for example, people have a change in terms of organization that didn't plan to change based on the strategy. So you see that 20% only on the marketing money is going to be invested on that strategic level. It's problematic. It means that people are not committed on that. If salespeople, for example, are not changing the incentives based on the strategy that we have, of course they're gonna do what they do on a daily basis without thinking about the strategy. So same thing. Any investments and any ROI considered should be first linked with that. Um, I've seen in, for example, in Deezer, the fact that we had 80% of the marketing people that were not touched by the new strategy. Whatever we were doing, whatever we're changing, 80% of the money will still be put on things that were exactly the same thing 1 year ago. And this is where you see alignment problems. It's not that people don't want to align, it's that the strategy itself, that the focus points are not explained, that the sacrifices that we're going to do are not explained, that the anti-metrics, the things that we don't want to reach, are not explained. So this is how I try to align people on the fork. It worked perfectly in B2B. On B2C, that was a little bit harder, to be honest, because people felt threatened in their role. For example, people working on the loyalty programs, well, you don't build a loyalty program for people that's going to be here for their first or second time. So they felt useless, they felt threatened. So this was a kind of resistance to change that we saw. And that was more a management problem and an ego problem than a strategic problem. I don't know if that makes sense. If that doesn't, please feel free to tell me, right?
That's perfect, and so the people they're starting to gather. This is almost the end. I guess we have the time to close the loops with Lena's question, but I think we almost have combined different insight from those OKR. It's not about if we can wrap up this. It's not about not making OKR. It's just about put meaningful OKR that match to, of course, your ways of working, your pace, your company, but mostly, yeah, the strategy. Yeah, it's also the time to say goodbye. So before you go, guys, I have something I have to ask you. We have, yeah, 1 more minute, of course, to speak about the hub. Most of our participants today are already in this hub. So if you're curious and you're already invited for free in our community to share about product facilitation, design, AI, And I think it's one of the coolest social environments where we can speak freely without being filtered by an algorithm. And before we go, we need to ask you, of course, you have a window and you have a short form to help us to improve those webinars. Of course, every month we are making webinars with speakers and creators. Sometimes we have a template, sometimes not. And of course, on your feedback, you're helping the Air Generation community, but also the Miro community to bring more and interesting program every time. So take the minutes that remain to feed this. And of course, it's time also if you have to go to say goodbye. But thank you so much, Fabrice, for this opportunity. And I can't wait the next time you are coming in Lisbon to grab you at the airport.
Thanks a lot.
So stay online if you want, Fabrice, for a quick debrief. And guys, I'm waiting for your feedback in this form. Think about everything in the form is very personal. Nobody is watching. So feel confident and be aware. Tomorrow on LinkedIn, we'll announce the winner and the most engaged participants to this workshop. Thank you, guys. Christopher, you have a year, and we have a beautiful church here in Tavira. This is the end of the day, and you can think like digital nomads sometimes have a serious problem. I was bitten by mosquito during all the show, so I will have a very good night. Have a great time. Have a great evening, guys, or a great day if you're in America.